The next 3 weeks are about to get very interesting in college football. What's up, everybody? It's Trey Smith with College Game Time, back at you with another video on the College Game Time YouTube channel. Today I'm talking about what's going on with the Pac-12, but before we get into that, please hit that like and subscribe, and leave me a comment and share it with a friend. And if you're feeling generous right now, just go ahead and hit that super thanks button down there and leave me a little financial gift, whatever you're feeling. Don't think too hard about it, just leave something. So you heard at the top of the video, these next 3 weeks are going to get very interesting. And the reason why these next 3 weeks are going to get very interesting is because there's two key deadlines. One is on June 30th and one is on July 1st that could impact the timetable and the Pac-12's ability to get a deal done. Okay, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones is famous for saying deadlines make deals. And right now, there are two deadlines that will significantly impact the Pac-12 conference that is going to almost force them to get a deal done. Now, will it be the right deal? Will it be the best deal? Only time will tell. But let's kind of recap where we're at and how we got here. See, the Pac-12 is hoping to keep all its current members, plus add San Diego State and SMU. But none of that is happening if they don't get a media deal done. And the reason why they're not getting a media deal done is because when negotiations began a year ago, the Pac-12 was thinking on some level they were going to get something in the ballpark of what the Big Ten landed, which was a $7 billion media deal after poaching UCLA and USC from the Pac-12. Well, the Pac-12's value obviously significantly dropped after that, and there was no way they were going to get a deal of that magnitude or even close to that ballpark. They were going to have to play in the same field as a conference like the Big 12. Well, the Big 12, knowing that, swooped in, even though they have a couple years left on their media deal, and they renewed with ESPN and Fox and essentially beat the Pac-12 to the punch. It wasn't near as lucrative as the Big Ten or SEC because, as we all know, the Big Ten and the SEC run college football now. But it was lucrative enough to poach more teams from the Pac-12 if the Pac-12 can't get a deal done, which is exactly what the Big 12 is reportedly trying to do. Before I get to that, let's just look at this. Fox is out. CBS is out. NBC is out. So the Pac-12 essentially is running out of options, as some of you are well aware of. And then the ESPN is so tied up with the SEC, the Big 12 now, and the ACC that they're not looking to shell out major money for the Pac-12 Tier 1 games. Okay, the Pac-12 might be able to negotiate a supplementary deal with ESPN to get some of those later slated games because they are playing on the West Coast, but that's it. So where we're at now is Colorado and Arizona are reportedly flirting with the Big 12, and the Big 12 is definitely trying to add both of those schools. You look at the media presence of a guy like Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, who badly wants to get in the Big 12 for his Texas recruiting. Then you look at the basketball presence that Arizona could add to the Big 12, and that would be a grand slam for the Big 12 to be able to add those two schools. Now, with that being said, all of the current Pac-12 institutions have given a commitment to the commissioner of the conference that they will stay put, pending a media deal being signed and them seeing those revenue projections. Now, recently, the Washington State AD, I don't know if he did this by design. I don't know if he did this accidentally. There's a clip of him floating around talking about the projections that they've seen, and it almost sounds like they're disappointing. They're not going up. They're not going down. They're kind of staying the same. He also said in that clip that he was surprised that things have taken this long. In fact, you can watch it right here.
I never thought we would still be in June negotiating and working with our media partners around what that final deal is going to be. So there is that out there, and at least the projections that Pat and I and others have seen, I'm not sure if it'll be a lot larger than we saw in the past. It shouldn't be a lot smaller than the past. It may be fairly flat.
So as you can see, it doesn't sound like whatever the Pac-12 is on the cusp of is very promising, but if they can get a deal done and at least be in the same ballpark as the Big 12, which they should be able to do if they can find the right outlet the right media outlet, which it might have to go streaming, which I'm going to talk about here in just a second. But that could at least keep everyone intact. They keep everyone intact, and then they can go add a couple of other schools like a San Diego State or an SMU who they've been linked to sort of courting about joining the conference. Now, let's talk about those two deadlines I mentioned at the beginning of the video and how those could impact the Pac-12's negotiations. The July 1 deadline, reportedly or allegedly, the Big 12 has given the Pac-12 institutions, hint, Arizona and Colorado, until July 1st to make a decision. Are you leaving or are you staying? And then the June 30th deadline, that is the date that San Diego State has that's their deadline to notify the Mountain West Conference if they're leaving or staying. So if they want to leave and jump ship and join another conference like the Pac-12 in 2024, 2025, they have until June 30th to notify the Mountain West Conference. So those two deadlines could impact these discussions because they could impact two schools that the Pac-12 is trying to keep and two schools that the Pac-12 is trying to gain. Both have critical deadlines of June 30th and July 1st. So my prediction is in these next 3 weeks, we start to see some serious movement happening. We will see a deal get done. And then depending on the structure and revenue of that deal would determine if the Pac-12 as we know it stays intact. If it's a horrible deal, a desperate deal, I think we see Colorado and Arizona join the Big 12. And if that happens, I think we seriously start to see movement and smoke around Washington and Oregon joining the Big 10, which the Big 10 would love to have. Oh, and also so would USC and UCLA just for scheduling purposes. So this media deal could have significant ramifications on the landscape of college football. So with all that being said, what is the best course of action for the Pac-12 to take? And I'll keep it very simple and to the point. For me, I think their best option right now is Apple TV streaming service. Obviously, Amazon would probably be one, but I think Amazon's out. From what I've read, what's being reported, Amazon, that's kind of fizzled out. But Apple TV is still in play. You've got the Silicon Valley, West Coast type connection there. You have plenty of space on Thursday nights, Friday nights, and Saturdays. Apple TV signed a pretty lucrative contract with the soccer. I don't know the full, MLS or international. I don't know much about the soccer world, but I know they just signed a big lucrative media deal with that. I don't think this would contradict or conflict with it. It really would just come down to if Apple TV wants to invest that much more money into sports, which if you could get college football in and a Power 5 conference that has a playoff spot, so the Pac-12 could leverage that. And now they have Thursday night window, Friday night window, and Saturday. And then they could negotiate some sort of supplemental deal with ESPN to get some of those later slates. That right there, I believe, would bring in enough revenue to keep what you currently have and then go add what you're looking to add. Now, is it a conference that's going to compete with the Big Ten or the SEC? No. At this point, they've got to do what they've got to do. And it's never ideal to go the streaming route. However, that's kind of the world we're living in now, and it's only going more and more that way versus if they join a CAA or a USA Network or I think it was like a CNBC or some of these kind of one-off type channels that not every streaming service has. In my opinion, you've got to go the streaming route. I'd go Apple TV. They've got a beautiful studio out there on the West Coast. There's a lot of mutual beneficial things that could come from a Pac-12 Apple TV relationship. And I think that between that and a supplemental deal with ESPN, it would allow Pac-12, like I said, to keep what they currently have and to go get what they're trying to get. That's all I have for this. I guarantee you, though, these next 3 weeks, we're going to see some moving and shaking happening. And if a deal doesn't get done or a deal that's not very good gets done, we're going to see some more movement like we did last summer. So let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Peace.